No problem. And he doesn't necessarily lay it out, but you might know Philippians 4:13, which says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And I read that and I was like, yeah, man, but what's the secret though? Well, we'll talk about it a little bit. And then this other quote from Mark Twain: I am an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened. And isn't that the truth? How much have we, I could say, how much have we had to worry about? You know how much I have to worry about every day? You know how much time I take being outraged about what's going on? You know how much I have to worry about? If you had any idea how much I have to worry about, you'd understand, you know, why everything is terrible. You'd understand. Okay? Attitude of gratitude. Yes, to folks who know this. Yes, gratitude, right? Yes, make lists of what you're grateful for. Yes, the more you see and begin to count your blessings, the more things you will have to be grateful for, and it works. Yes, gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation, it does rewire the brain. Yes, right? So, okay, I could just sit down right there because it's over. All right. An attitude of gratitude, a posture, an attitude is a settled way of thinking about something that is then reflected in your behavior. So an attitude, so even a lot of times, because like I said, you know how much I have to worry about, then that turns into, okay, but let me be grateful. But which one is really my attitude? Which one is my posture? See, there's moments of, yes, Queen Goddess, I'm so grateful. But the whole attitude, though, is, it's all messed up. Now what are we gonna do? So much to worry about. But the attitude. And then it is reflected in behavior. So I can tell what a person's attitude is based off of how they're behaving. My beloved father, I didn't have to say anything growing up, and he would just look at me and he would say, fix your attitude. I said, well, I'm just sitting here. I didn't even say nothing. It's a settled way of thinking about something. So we have a lot of thoughts that kind of fleeting. Yeah, okay, I know, okay, yeah, abundance, and yeah, I know goodness, and I know unconditional love. But what is my settled? And then where does that come from? That comes from society, that comes from religion, that comes from parents, that comes from experiences, or more importantly and more accurately, not just from those things, but from our interpretation of those things. Because it's been said, it's not so much what happens as how you respond to it. Now, a whole lot of things happen, but are they good or are they bad? You might ask some folks, and they would say, well, that depends on what it is. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. But I could go all the way back to Genesis chapter 1, where God made everything and put one adjective to describe everything, and that was good. So then, well, what about the bad stuff, though? What are you talking about? Donald Trump, school shootings, right? And I'm not making light of any of it. As one who has dealt with death, who's dealt with, kind of like Paul, I know what it is to have plenty, and I know what it is to be in want. But then he said, I've learned the secret. Okay, Paul, what's the secret? Come on. Now, I wish he had just said, why didn't he just, as he was writing, just write, okay, the secret is. That would have saved us a lot of drama. This is 2,000 years old. That's all he had to say. Okay, the secret is. But he didn't. So I guess that's my job. I'm going to undo 2,000 years. Here we go. All right, here we go. Well, what can I say except that he said, okay, I've been here, I've been there. I've been up, and is he the only one, or am I the only one? I've been up, I've been down, I've been depressed, I've been giddy, I've been anticipatory, I've been hurt, I've been laughing till I cried, and then I've been crying till I laughed. I've been afraid, I've been guilty, I've been ashamed, I've been apathetic, I've been enlightened, I've been joyful, I've been at peace, I've been all the way up and down. But no matter, and usually I would base that off of circumstances. You guys know, and thank you, Guidance, again for the outpouring of love. My father passed, God news he passed. Now I'm sad. Why? Because something happened that made me sad. And when I got the phone call, I said, man, now what if I had gotten the phone call? What if they hung up the phone? Like, man, he's gone. What if they had called back 15 minutes later and said, oh man, that wasn't even him. He's back. He's not dead. Then I would have gone from to because of external circumstances. That's a very dangerous game to play, because all that has to happen, if someone can control your external circumstances, they can control your attitude. And now look at perspective. Your perspective becomes your reality. So, if we perceive things as bad, then they are bad. You ever seen just the most harmless puppy walking down the street? And if a person has an attitude, a perspective that dogs are dangerous, it could be the sweetest little, for the record, pit bulls are typically one of the sweetest species you're ever going to meet. It's only when they're trained to be ferocious. So that's working on a couple of levels. One, they are what they have been taught to be, but two, others see them according to how they have been taught. I don't care, like I come here, hey, it's Dr. Pickens, Dr. Pickens, Dr. Pickens, Dr. Pickens. I don't care. There are many communities where you could see me walking down the street and they have a word for who I am. Forget the degrees. It starts with an N and it is not nincompoop, okay? All right, so what's the secret? Maybe he didn't just lay out, okay, the secret is because it's not just one thing. Or maybe it is just one thing. But the one, or maybe it's not. Or, okay, but the one thing is you. Your approach, your perspective. So how could okay, I've been up, I've been down, I've been in plenty, I've been in want. I know the secret of being content in any situation. I know the secret of being content, of saying it is well, of saying I'm not worried, of saying I know it's going to work out. Part of the secret is what Mark Twain came to find out at an old age. He said, look, now I'm old. You know how much stuff I've been worrying about this whole time? You know how many times I laid awake at night? You know how many times I woke up and just hit the ground running because I had to fix this or that? You know how many times a loved one was out late and they were supposed to call and they didn't call, and then I couldn't sleep and I couldn't eat? He said, you know how much I've worried about? I've known a great many troubles, but most of the stuff I worried about never happened. Oh, Lord, I lost my job, Lord, now. Now I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be hungry. I don't know what my kids are going to do. I don't know. Not realizing or forgetting all things work for the good of those who love God and are called according to God's purpose. Forgetting I'm more than a conqueror. Forgetting if God be for you, who can be against you? Yeah, I'll tell you who can be against you, my supervisor, because he messed me up. Attitude, approach, perspective. Maybe we get into the secret here a little bit, all right? So let me rely on, who am I relying on? Hey, hey, I need you to cheer me up. Tell me some good news. Well, I ain't got no good news. Now I'm sad. I needed you to cheer me up. I needed you to make me laugh. I needed you to. Don't you know who the source actually is? You were supposed to pay me. Don't you know who the source actually is? You turned your back on me when I needed you the most. Don't you know that the source cannot turn the back? I can't even say it. The source can't turn the back on the source because you are the one who's getting his back turned on, but you are the source. Okay, I know I couldn't say it. All right. Relying on the temporal, relying on the finicky. Guess what? Everybody don't feel the same every day. You know? No, I need you to make me feel better. No. It's just the source. And the source is within. The source is you. The source is as you. So as a matter of fact, it's not even about, well, let me find things to be grateful for, because when I'm grateful, then things start to be better. Okay, that's true. If I write a gratitude list, okay, then I can attract more money or attract the relationship or get things to work the way they're supposed to work. But that's still an external gain. How about I am in as that source, and all this other stuff I've been worrying about, all that, if I can just get that to fall away, all that's going to be left is I am. And now that's something to be grateful for. And here's another thing. Your perspective is your choice. So if your perspective becomes your reality and your perspective is your choice, then I only got to 12th grade math, but if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, right? So if your perspective is your reality and your perspective is your choice, then your reality is your choice. All this stuff happened to me, though. Guess what? Stuff will continue to happen because you are just one part of this whole. So, yeah, stuff happened to you. Yeah, when the sun comes up, that's something happening to you. You know, maybe you didn't feel like it. Maybe you wish it hadn't. But guess what? Maybe you wish the loved one hadn't died. But guess what? Maybe you wish the employment situation had not changed. But guess what? Maybe you wish the relationship status had been something other than what it is. But guess what? Things will continue to happen. But there's a difference between things happening and my reality. Because my reality, we just said it, ABC, my reality is ultimately my choice. How much of these things, and here's another thing, all this stuff that happened to me, this happening to me, this happening to me, the great Iyanla Vanzant said, look, everything that happened to you, it happened to you by your own energetic invitation. It did not happen because racism. Now, yeah, those are things that happen. Yeah, it exists, it's real. I've seen this more than once. Car crash. Two cars crash into each other. Both folks get out and they just start fighting. I've seen it more than once. Now, if they had hit me, we're not fighting. How did those two people, funny bumping into you, how did they bump into each other? We attract, and I know you've seen it where if I can maintain a little enthusiasm, if I can maintain a little joy, if I can maintain, then people start responding in like kind. You reap what you sow. So there it is with gratitude. When I can approach it with gratitude, which is appreciation. Gratitude is Thankfulness, right? It's the quality of being thankful. It is to show appreciation for kindness. So if the universe is being kind to you, well, is it? That's up to your perspective. How many folks? I just can't win. I never win anything. I don't know, man. God must hate me today. I don't know what's going on. The funny thing is, God, the universe is like taking notes, like, okay, hate you, treat you bad, got it. I just can't get a break. Like, we'll make sure. Because you're so powerful. And the power of life and death is in the tongue. He screamed from the rooftops that he just can't get a break. He screamed from the rooftops he'll never be able to afford a vacation. So the universe is like, this stupid car never works. So now we get into the secret a little bit here. Now, in all of this spiritual talk, we love the abundance, the overflow. Yes, right. You know, God is so good. The manifestation, we can't believe how much. It's so much. It's above. It's over above what we think. But what about gratitude for enough? Enough. I don't know about you. I can only speak for myself, but don't you have enough? I would teach meditation classes, and I would have to tell folks, I know there's a lot of worries, but I'm asking you to just forget about them for an hour while we're doing this meditation. And then when it's over, you can pick them back up and you can keep worrying if you want to. But just for this hour, please. And hopefully it would get a laugh, and hopefully it would start to shift the perspective so that people could understand, wait a minute, this is a choice ultimately. This is something that I'm hanging on to. Now, we've been taught very well how to hang on to it, or why to hang on to it, or how there's no other option. But he said he learned the secret, and the secret is that there is another option. Everything that's coming our way, here's what I can do. I can recognize it. I can appreciate it. I can recognize it. I can acknowledge it. And then what I do with it is up to me. So, okay, circumstance comes. I recognize it. Okay, this is what's happening right now. I went through a thing this week, and it's been actually the last few weeks, where I had some fraud with the bank, and so then I got to go into the bank, and they canceled the debit card, but I got this payment on this, and I got that, and then they going to make me wait 10 days, and they froze it, and all this stuff. And that was what? So this week I was dealing with that too. And I had forgot the secret for a second. I can't lie. And, you know, some other words besides these wonderful words of life were welling up out of the overflow of the heart. The mouth speaks, after all, right? But then I realized, I said, wait a minute. I have enough right now. So they said, okay, it's one more business day. Good thing I have enough. And then Jesus said, give us this day our daily bread. And so, yeah, I'm thinking ahead. Well, what about this? Well, how am I going to do this? Well, on the 15th, I got to do this. Jesus said, hey, the 15th will take care of itself. But seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness, and all things will be added unto you as well. So, he said he learned the secret. In any and every situation. How can we go through the rest of life, any and every situation, And sometimes I'm like, is he serious? Then that's the human part in me. Really? When that, that good molar really started, the pain shoots like that, you're talking about he's just happy in every situation. But yeah, maybe. Why? One, none of these things last forever. Two, we do reap what we have sown. So therefore, let me sow something different. And before long, I will have to reap something different. If I don't like it, it's not an external blame factor. If I don't like it, I got to look at what I don't like me and what part of it, what's really going on here, and what can be done about it. Now, that's my perspective. Abraham Lincoln said, I wake up in the morning and I realized I could either be happy or be sad. And he said, when I do good, I feel good. And when I do bad, I feel bad. And that is my religion. So it's a wonderful invitation. It's a wonderful opportunity that it's not what life is throwing at us, but it's what we do with it. Don't you know the power of perspective? Don't you know? Here, I got a question for you. Are chitlins delicious? Detroit. Some hot sauce. The right person clean them. I don't care how enlightened I get. Put some coleslaw, some cornbread, some black-eyed peas. Are they delicious? Are they? It depends. Well, it depends on who you ask. Is everything that happens to you for your good, moving you toward that ultimate trip back home to the awareness of the fullness of the I amness? Every single thing that happens, is it for that, or is it sometimes God got your back and sometimes the devil messing with you? Depends on who you ask. Now, you could ask me, but here's a better thing than asking me. You can ask you. Capital Y. And when you ask you, you will whisper this secret to yourself. And you'll be glad you did. So as a moment here, let us take a breath. Let us receive a treatment of appreciation. When we appreciate something, appreciate means two things. It means, one, to recognize the value of something. Okay, it's an appreciable asset. And then also it means to increase in value. So whatever's coming, and stuff's coming, I appreciate it, which means I recognize the value. And when I appreciate it, it appreciates. It gains in value. It gains in purpose. I don't have to try to avoid it. So allow yourself in your breath to look at what Mark Twain called this trouble, to take this invitation to cease from troubling. He said he's known a great many troubles, and maybe you have too. But now the perspective says these are blessings, these are lessons. This is where God would have me, where I would have me, and to embrace the truth, to embrace the spills, to embrace the accidents, to embrace it all, because this entire universe exists in you and is you, and nothing. Jesus said a sparrow can't fall out of a tree without God fully knowing the fate and the destiny and the purpose. And you're worth more than many sparrows. You have the full divine I am capacity within. How can circumstances, how can politics, how can finances, how can other people's opinions touch the truth of who we are? Thankfully, embracing not just thoughts of gratitude, not just lists of gratitude, not just counting my blessings, but an attitude, a posture, a learning, an approach that appreciates everything that God is doing in us, through us, and as us. Amen, ashe, and so it is. God bless you. Love you very, very much.